So we survived round one of the chase, and now we're on the pole here at Charlotte for round two, trying to take control of this chase and go into Homestead with a really good shot. So obviously to do that, we need to get through this round. Maybe the easiest round in terms of tracks for us. I think it's Charlotte, Kansas, and then Talladega. And hopefully we won't have to rely on Talladega to get us into the round of 8, which may be the most difficult round. It's possible it's a toss-up between round 1 and the round of 8, but we've got a really good start here, and obviously 83 laps to go. Quite a long ways. Not quite as long as the 600, obviously. This race, I think, is like 500 miles in real life. Obviously, we're doing 25% of that race distance, so significantly less laps overall. But half a second already on Kyle Busch, and we're just pulling away as we're getting already a second on Johnson. 3 and 4, turns 3 and 4 at Charlotte are definitely places where the AI seem to go really slow. And the funny thing is, in practice and qualifying, that's definitely one groove down there. You can go too wide here in turns 1 and 2, but you get over there in turn 3 and 4, and it's definitely a bottom lane only kind of a corner down here for whatever reason. The top and middle lanes aren't really ones that you can really run. You can kind of arc the corner, which I didn't do the last time because I'm just kind of, you know, being kind of conservative, but at the same time, you just can't make any ground up on the high side. As I really get up on the high side in turn 1 and 2. Not quite what I wanted to be doing there, but thankfully no wall contact, and we'll continue on. But, you know, I'm not going to get too confident here early on because, again, it always seems like NASCAR Heat wants to screw me over in these races. We'll just see. I did say, I think in the end of the last video, we've got a pretty good shot here as we set our fastest lap of the race, but not fastest overall for the weekend. We're still 2/10 off of what we were doing in qualifying, or at least did in qualifying for the pole position. But like I said in the last video, Charlotte, this was the race I kind of earmarked as, hey, we can do real well here and kind of at least take the pressure off for a couple of races and just kind of go out there and have fun rather than go for these for championship points. And there we go, improving again to a 30.3. And just kind of run a little bit of a high groove here in 1 and 2. Wondering about lap traffic, how that's going to play into this race. I do remember the last time we ran Charlotte, of course, for the 600. That was quite a bit different style of racing. It felt like a pack race between the kind of lead group, with me kind of in there. I think with like Keselowski and others. Maybe Dale Jr. was in there as well. So this seems like the fall race has kind of turned into a little bit different in terms of how it's going to shake out. But we've got 4.2 seconds on Kyle Busch. So that is just so wonderful right now. That's exactly what we need to be doing. Heck, I'll try to lap the field if possible. I do not care. But somehow I feel like the game is not going to give me an easy one here, even if we are way, way up on the field right now. We did make that grip improvement, and I'm definitely feeling it in terms of how the car's reacting in the corners. And just the, like I said, overall grip is just wonderful. And obviously Charlotte, a little bit different than your regular cookie cutter. And really, for perspective, it's really not a cookie cutter. It's kind of the first track of its kind, the D-shaped 1.5 mile oval. And it's definitely not a flat-out track. It's very fast, but at the same time, the corners are quite tight for what they are. And you have the fairly long back straightaway here, unlike a track like Texas, where the corners are really long and the straightaways seem like they're very short, because they are. That's the way the track is laid out. Well, we're falling off just a little bit here. It's probably going to be a pretty slow lap. It's not like it really matters right now. No, it's still only 2/10 off our best time so far, but everybody else is, 6, almost 7 seconds behind I'm a little bit worried once we get into lap traffic that they're still going to be packed together quite a bit. That's definitely a concern of mine for sure. Get through turn 1. Nice and easy. Car is so balanced right now. So balanced. I mean, I didn't even make any adjustments going into qualifying. I suppose I could take a little, you know, wedge out of it, maybe loosen it up just a tad, but honestly, why would I risk it right now? The car is very, very drivable. We'll see what it's like once we kind of get down to the end of a fuel run, tire run. In fact, let's take a look at that's damage. Yeah, 66% in terms of fuel. We still got 9 laps to the good, so everything, tire wear, fuel wear, everything's pretty bueno right now. It's probably not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but then again, I'm starting to see the lap traffic up there, and they look like they're kind of spread out, so fingers crossed when we get up there it's going to be just a little bit easier to be able to pass them than I think it would be otherwise if they were all packed together. But obviously that's going to, you know, hinder us just a little bit. Already almost 8 seconds out in front of Kevin Harvick, who is now taken over the second position from Kyle Busch. And obviously nobody is leading the points technically right now. The points reset after every round in the chase. I don't know if that's really the best system. I'm not a big fan of, you know, the playoff system that they kind of have in store now in terms of the chase. I think certainly the chase was less offensive when it was essentially just a reset of the points championship, and you know, it was a 10-round championship at the end of the year. I think it was a little bit more legitimate. But then again, you know, the chase is always going to be a little bit illegitimate, and we've got a yellow. Everybody is pitting. I feel like I should probably pit too. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So we're about to go green. We've got quite a bit of back markers that decided not to pit, which is interesting. So that's going to make this a bit exciting here on the restart as we get back to green. I put a little tape on the front end of the car, as opposed to putting it on the rear end of the car, I guess, to just try to get the car to turn a little bit better into the corner. Don't need it too much. I think I went from 30 to 35%. Just a little bit more front downforce. It's always a good thing. As we, this is going to be a bit. I'm going to be very cautious. As Harvick's not being cautious, and now I'm not cautious as we go through 3 and 4. Like I said, the high line ain't going to work very well up there. I guess Harvick's making it work. Tri-oval, very difficult stuff here. So I guess it's going to be a bit of a battle with Harvick as we kind of get up into the wall and get slammed by McDowell, of course.
There's a wreck in turn 1.
Yeah, it was me. How bad is it? How bad is it? Not too bad. Well, we're just going to have to work our way back up through the field from this. Obviously, we're getting a little bit of rubber banding, which, by the way, good news, everyone. I heard that they got rid of this for NASCAR Heat 2. So when I get, you know, put in the wall by Michael McDowell in NASCAR Heat 2, you guys are going to get very boring racing where I'm stuck in the back and can't move forward. But that will be much more rewarding when you actually end up doing well legitimately without the aid of the game kind of holding your hand a little bit, which is always a good thing. So I'm a little bit more optimistic about NASCAR Heat 2 from that perspective. Whoa, and they're wrecking. Wow, that was a thing that happened, and it looks like Kevin Harvick was the one who got screwed by that, because we were racing him for the lead, and now he's running all the way back here. All the way back here in 24th position. So poor Kevin Harvick, but it's obviously all those cars up front that probably shouldn't be up front, but they are up there due to pit sequence. In retrospect, I almost wish I would have not pitted, you know, just to eliminate myself from this nonsense. But again, you kind of have to stay on the sequence. The way this game runs, that's yellow flags. Get way up to the high groove. Oh, wow, that was a hell of a save. Woo! I'm kind of surprised I was able to keep it together there, but I did somehow, and now Harvick's all over the back of me once again. The car's all slowing down because there's a car coming into the pits, or several cars coming into the pits. I sliced down to the inside of Larson, couldn't quite get there. Chris Buescher, very slow on the outside, one of the cars that stayed out on the track, obviously. And Matt Kenseth turned down in front of me, but he saved it, so whatever. No problemo. We keep going. Michael McDowell, the car that caused me so much pain and suffering. And now we got a car in the wall. And Kurt Busch is spun because I was trying to avoid Austin Dillon. It's all kicking off here, but we're still staying in it. 62 laps to go. No caution. That's interesting. So around a lot of the Roush guys here. 2 of the Roush guys to be precise. And now we're starting to move again. I'm glad I put the tape on the front of the car, otherwise we'd be in a world of hurt with the handling for sure. As we try to work around the outside of Logano again, you see 3 and 4. Difficult to get that run, and there is finally the yellow. You know what? I'm gonna pit now just to get the car repaired, and then just drive very cautiously as we get back to the green, because there's only a couple guys ahead of me pitting. Alright, so only in 28th. Not a terrible position to be in for the restart. Obviously, we now have fresh tires, fresh repairs. It's all good. Well, obviously, they never fully repair the front, which is a bit frustrating about NASCAR Heat. Maybe they'll fix that in Heat 2. Who knows? Alright, so around the outside. And Michael McDowell once again. Because I had to lift mine to Benedetto just to keep everything on the straight and narrow. Keep it, try to hang it around the outside of McFlurry, which we're able to do just. And just. Oh, that was my fault. That was my fault. Thankfully, everybody made it through there. Paul Menard going around the outside. And then being very slow in the center of the corner, and we're going to be able to drive around the outside of him. Now let's see if we can get back to McFlurry here, as he looks like he's going to come into the pits. Game lagging a little bit, possibly going to have a yellow flag. Wow, we were so close to the wall right there. Around the outside of Casey Mears, going to have to be careful again, as Truex sticks his nose in there, didn't quite get down. Oh boy, that is 3 wide stuff right there. Up into the wall again. That's the same thing we needed to not do the last time. Oh, this is tough. See, this is the thing I was talking about that happened in the last race, where you get in these packs and you just can't do anything except for get spun and crashed. And can we get a yellow? Can we get a yellow? Can we get a yellow? There it is. Okay. Alright, still in the lead lap. No problem. No problem. No problem. Let's just try to keep the race green this time. Here we go. I took a little bit of wedge out for this restart. See how we go here. Underneath the red, white, and black cars, and then Buescher just absolutely tries to wreck me there. We're just going to run on the apron here, underneath the net threat, and fall all the way to the back, whatever. And lift off. Kind of drive a little bit cautiously again. I guess I wasn't being as cautious as I should have been the last restart. And just look for opportunities. I almost got turned by Bowyer there, who is a chaser. So it's good that we're ahead of him. Just had to back out of it. You just don't want to hit these guys in the side, because that happens. See? That is the worst part of the physics right there. And you get sucked into them, and then you can't. You try to get off of them, and then it's just like pinball effect. Pinball wizard. You get right down the grass there, past Bowyer, and just gonna have to back out of it underneath Smith. maybe we can split Smith and McDowell here. At least they're spreading out a little bit. And it looks like we've got some cars maybe coming into the pits. It's hard to tell because of the way they're kind of running down the back straightaway. And really driving it off into turn 3. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, Bobby Labonte, or Matt DiBenedetto is the next car. We're going to pass him quite quickly. Around Eric Jones, no problemo. And down into turn 1 again. Got through there decently. Looking. Big group of cars here. This is going to be not too good. Can we get to the inside? Can we get to the inside? Yes. Underneath McFlurry. And the Bacon car. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Greg Biffle. Can we get him? Yes. Not bad. Around the outside if we can. Behind Paul Menard. Around the outside of Paul Menard. Yes, sure. Why not? 3 wide on the exit of turn 2. And now it's time to be a little bit cautious. Here into turn 3. Obviously, there's not a whole lot I can do down here as we're Austin Dillon making a big move down to the inside. I'm kind of surprised with his pace. And with 3 wide in the tri-oval, that almost didn't work out. I really need to get around this pack clearly because they are driving like absolute morons. And 3 wide. 3 wide, please clear the other 3 wide. Alright, we did it. Whew. I don't know how we did it, but we cleared him. We cleared him. Okay, now into turn 3. This time we got a nice clear run through the apex of the corner, and now we've got cars pitting. So another good run here through the middle of the tri-oval. Around the outside of Austin Dillon. He kind of jumped out of the way of me. And actually into Stenhouse, but oh boy. And there's a yellow. So we've still got 13 laps of fuel on board. And pretty much everybody ahead of me is pitting. Ooh, 45 laps to go. I'm not going to pit. Not going to pit. Okay, so we took a gamble here. We're going to stay out. And hopefully, maybe, possibly, fingers crossed, make it on 1 more stop to finish the race. We'll see. Jimmy Johnson, a little bit of a hip check there. Austin Dillon, a little bit of a hip check there. Here on the outside of the track, not where we necessarily want to be. I think once we get into turn 3, things are going to be a little bit better, but we've got to be very cautious here on this restart. As we get up to speed, we're just not going to be able to accelerate quite as well as everybody else is going to be able to, but we can certainly corner better as we just get a good run, decent run through 3 and 4. Austin Dillon, to where are we going to be able to get him down to the inside? Yes, we are. So a nice pass of Austin Dillon there. Run the car right up next to the wall, and then right back down into the draft of Jimmy Johnson, and here we go. Let's go for the lead now. Take her back from Johnson. Seems like it's been gone for so long. I forgot what leading this race is like, but we're getting there, slowly but surely. And we still got 39 laps to go. So a long way to go. So probably 2 more stops. But it's possible we can short fill and whatnot. 2 tires if it's a really lot of fuel that we need. We go around the outside of Johnson. He's clearly got the legs on the straightaway, but we have got the grip in the corners. Around the outside of Jimmy we go in the very difficult 3 and 4. We're going to lead this lap. Is Johnson going to come out into me? No, he's not. He's racing me pretty fair right now. I kind of bumped into him just a little bit. He takes the lead back into turn 1, but a little bit of contact into the wall we go. So we're going to have to kind of slip back in behind Johnson here, probably pass him again in 3 and 4, take the lead again. I'm also going for the most laps led because that's another sponsorship requirement of mine. Ooh, Johnson slow in the middle of the corner. I feel like that was almost intentional the way he just kind of slowed down there, kind of killing my exit speed. Johnson will lead that lap. Clearly we're a little bit off of what we were running earlier in clean air with a undamaged car and fresh tires and all that good stuff. But here we go. Nice run on Johnson here down the back straightaway. Can we dive around him? So here we go, 3 and 4. This is where we're good. And just lift off just a little bit. Hard on the throttle. Off of the corner, a little bit of side draft. Hopefully, no. Johnson's going to hold it down to the inside. And he is going to hold on to the lead on that lap. But I feel like this lap is going to be quite good. Around the outside, can we make the move? This is fantastic racing. Really, really good stuff here with Jimmy Johnson. We take the lead side by side again. Johnson edges his nose out here into turn number 3, and we take the lead, but Johnson's going to get back on the inside. Wow, this is a great duel. Side by side stuff. And Johnson leads that lap again. We are putting on a show here at Charlotte. Driving around the outside again of Jimmy Johnson. Can we clear him? Can we get that exit speed? We're leading down the back straightaway. Johnson moves to the inside. It's possible he's coming into the pits. We're leading. And into turn 3, Johnson slowing down just a little bit. It's possible. And he comes into the pits. As we hear, there was a wreck in turn number 1. Is that going to bring out the yellow? Game lagging just a little bit. Going to see what's going to happen. Johnson obviously peeled off into the pits. Out of contention at the moment. What is our fuel number looking like? We've got 5 laps to go. Certainly the side of the car has seen better days. Tires are okay. Tires are okay. I'm definitely going to do a 4-tire stop when we do get into the pit sequence. Because, of course, we can do 2 tires theoretically if we need to stop one more time, as it definitely looks like we will have to. We've got 4 laps to go, certainly, yeah. So it's going to be a 2-stop race to the end. But, the big but, is the fact that now, essentially, we've cycled around to the lead, and essentially we're in the catbird seat now, from the perspective of the race. Certainly, we need to beat Jimmy. Jimmy is the one we're racing at the moment, in terms of strategy calls and whatnot. He's the guy we're racing with 32 laps to go. But obviously every little bit helps, and you know, if we can just keep the consistent lap times going here, we're going to be in really good shape. As we get up here behind retired Scott, going to pass him around the outside. He was very fair there, just held his line like a good lap car does. And now Landon Castle, who gave us some problems when he was a lap car at Bristol, and we had the lead. So let's see if we can drive a little bit, or have Castle race us a little bit better this time. And indeed he does. Nice and easy. Lets me pass with quite fair driving. And now sneaking up behind Regan Smith here in the Ninco RC car, as we've got more cars peeling out of the pits and merging into traffic. Tony Stewart just ahead. As Regan Smith moves up the hill a little bit. I think he was a bit spooked by Tony Stewart's slightly slow mid-corner speed there in 3 and 4. Smith almost turned himself into me, and now we've got fuel alarms going off. Now what's the actual numbers here? 2 laps, and we're in turn number 2. I'm gonna stew. Yeah, I'm not gonna stretch it. Oh, for the love of God. Okay, well, thanks Tony. Thanks Tony for that. Funny, the damage isn't actually, you know, too bad, but anyway, we're getting into the pits.
Oh man, we got the black flag.
And I sped. Well, yeah, we got the black flag, so we're going to be held for, you know, extra 15 seconds. I was 5 miles over. I just saw the speedo hit 50. Should have been at 45. But that's what you get when you're trying to push hard going into the pits. And they're just, you know, we got to wait for the penalty now. 10 seconds more. Saw Chase Elliott go by. Certainly not what we needed. Not what we needed. And waiting. Good God, this is just an eternity. And out of the pits we go. For whatever reason, somehow our penalty was fast. Okay, so 19 laps of fuel. We're down to 29th position. And now it's just time to make up as many points as possible. And we're a lap behind the race. Actually, I guess that makes sense. Because Kurt Busch was just behind us, and now he's 5 seconds up the road. So we really got to get on it here. It's not you know, we're not in big trouble here. This is not as dire as you may think. Because, again, we're ahead of Tony Stewart, who we were racing with. You know, we were about to lap. So you assume he would come into the pits, and we'd be a lap ahead of him anyway. And there's a lot of cars leaving the pits right now. It looked like a big group of cars there just ahead of us. So it's going to be a strategy-filled race here at the end. We've just got to try to get this car, you know, back up into the fray here, and hopefully, you know, make our lap back up. So we're at a 30.8. We know we can run faster than that. I tried to loosen the car up a little bit more, taking wedge out and adding tape to the grill. Just trying to get the car a little bit more front positive. Truex is now the next car past Allmendinger, but again, Allmendinger I don't even think is in the chase, so he's not a car we need to be concerned about. As we get off of turn 4. Car seems okay. Let's see what the lap times are. 30.6. So we need to make up about 0.3 of a second.
There's trouble in turn 3.
And trouble in turn 3. Is that going to bring out the yellow? And indeed it does. So we're 2 laps behind the race, but everybody out in front is pitting. So obviously the choice to make is not to pit. Okay, so we got to wave around. We're on the lead lap. This is what we needed to do. 22nd position. Obviously, we just recently pitted, so we're essentially back on sequence with everybody else in terms of our lap and in terms of our fuel. So it's all good right now. And Regan Smith, absolutely no regard there. Yeah, that is exactly what it looked like. Well, that's annoying. At least Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Carl Edwards are laps behind, so if we're looking at the chase perspective, I guess this is okay, but that's really annoying. Well, let's see if we get some rubber banding going on here. Well, it's possible. It looked almost like the game was lagging a little bit. If that's the case, that means we'll be getting a yellow.
20 to go.
20 laps to go. What does the fuel number look like? It's 14, so we'll definitely have to come in and do a splash, assuming that nothing else happens from the perspective of yellow flags and whatnot. So 7.5 behind Buescher. Not closing in nearly at the kind of rate that I would like to. Paul Menard is now the last car in that queue. Now we're closing in, so we're getting the advantage of the rubber banding. We'll get back up there, and you know, 28th, not amazing, but not also, you know, soul-crushingly bad. Again, you know, we'll be able to stretch the fuel, and we'll also be able to just do a short fill, 2 tires at the end of this thing, and that will hopefully, you know, really get us back up into contention. You know, if you think about it, if we chop 5 seconds off as we, you know, gain on these guys anyway, we'll be ahead of them on track. So as long as our pit stop is fast as lightning, we get all the required service done and just run the pace that we've been able to run as the pole sitter, we'll be all right. Get down here in turn number 3. Run right up next to the wall. Very nice. Should be a pretty decent lap, I would imagine. Yeah, 30.5. So we're running really good. In fact, it's possible they're not even rubber banding all that much. It's possible we're just running really well. And Ryan Ellis is in the wall. Is that going to bring out a yellow? Is that going to bring out a yellow? No, not yet. Well, that was a mercy killing by the game. Just a car deciding to lose a tire or something, go up into the wall, but no caution. It's possible that we don't want a caution, to be fair with you. Let's see what we got here. 10 laps to go, so we'll have to pit with 6 to go as we get a really good run here on this group of cars right here. Just missed Tony Stewart right there. Very close. Close stuff. I've got to figure out a way to get through here, and there's just not a way right now. I'm going to be very, very careful as we get to the outside of Annette, the threat, and in the draft of Allmendinger. Oh, yeah, that is Buescher and Allmendinger just trying to kill me there. And just not quite able to get around Allmendinger. There's not really a place I can go. Yeah, we're three wide, all right. All right, just time to thread my way through here. Oh boy, howdy, that is just not what we need to be doing. Okay, Buescher, get out of my way. 3 wide in the tri-oval. That was not gonna ever work out. What a shocker. What a friggin' shocker. What a friggin' shocker. Yep. Okay, so 8 laps left to fuel. More than that to go in the race. And only in 27th position. You know, I'm just hoping, I'm so crossing my fingers that NASCAR Heat 2 is just not going to be nearly as frustrating as this game is. Nothing like touching the grass and then just going straight into the wall. Okay, What do I do? What do I do? Well, we're going to have to pit anyway. That's going to be a thing that we're going to have to do. So I'm just going to bring her in. Hopefully not speed this time.
Slow down.
All right, 2 tires, 1 can of fuel. I'm getting really aggressive on the wedge. I went a bunch of turns out. It's like went from like 50 or like 49 to like 30 or 48, 46. So here we go, back out on track. And we just got to go for it now. Obviously a lap behind the race, but again, we had to pit anyway. So essentially we're trying to, I guess in Formula 1 terms, undercut the field by running faster in clean air with fresh tires longer. Coming down to the end of the race, what position? We're in the 35th position. Top 35. Top 35 and under point. So retired Scott is the next car in line. He's the guy we need to be passing. As you just heard, I think 10 laps to go. And we've got 15 laps of fuel, so that is good. Don't have to worry about that anymore. And as we got lots of cars coming out of the pits, Regan Smith, obviously retired Scott. It's nice because they're now spread out. But retired Scott was trying to kill me there by just completely not paying any attention to where he was on the track. As we're going to get around Smith. And now to battle Castle and Allmendinger. Again, we're right where we were earlier in the race, and the car really hooking up now. That was flat out in 1 and 2. Flat out. That was just a great corner. So clearly I had way too much wedge in the car. What a shocker. Yeah, just a little bit of a hair of a lift there in turn number 3. And now we're catching up to Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth, 2 chasers, 9 laps to go. There's only a 31. So it's possible the damage is having a little bit more to do with the cornering ability, because we're coming into the corners at such a much lower rate of speed. But regardless, we're catching Bobby Labonte, who I think is well off the pace. Yeah, 36th. So he is a lapper as I just bounce off the wall, because frankly it was faster than just bailing out of the throttle and, you know, hoping the car was going to stick. So Jimmy Johnson, next car in line. Going to knock him down pretty easily after racing with him very hard for the lead earlier in the race. Another really just great run through 1 and 2. We're really, really strong through there. And now catching up to a lot of the cars. Almost feels like the game is lacking again. You've got to think there's going to be a caution at the end of this race. There goes Boyer into the pits. And Net the threat, very slow.
There's a wreck in turn 4.
Boy, is that fun. Okay. makes me skittish in the damn tri-oval, and then that happens. But at least we'll be able to catch up once again. It looks like there's some serious rubber banding going on. In addition to the fact that, you know, I got fresh tires on the car. And we got more cars. Eric Jones peeling off into the pits. He was running 14th. So essentially this is a race around the 14th position, I would guess, as we got 5 to go. And so let's just get back up there and race these guys as best we can. Flat out in turn 1. That's a no problem scenario. Around Paul Menard we go. Look at that run we have on De Benedetto. He's in 39th, but clearly very, very off the pace. Get down here into 3 and 4, just a little bit of a lift there. Now chasing Mike Lynette, but he's going to peel off into the pits. So now it's racing with Jimmy Johnson here, and lots of cars in the pits this time. So 5 to go, and we're going to move all the way up into 19th position, and possibly much higher as we've got many, many more cars coming out of the pits. So how high can we get here in the penultimate laps of the race? On the outside of Ryan Blaney, up to 16th position.
Still there.
I'm just going to be very careful here. The tri-oval, he seems to be a little bit faster on the straights.
Stay high.
Just going to absolutely put the car into him because there's, you know, it's better just to bounce off of him and just stick to him and then not, you know, try to be fair about it and get off of him, because otherwise it's going to be a huge crash. That's not what, absolutely not what we need here at the end of the race. So as we get to the outside, I was going to try to cut to the outside of McMurray, but he just decided, no, I don't want to do that. 3 laps to go. The inside of McFlurry. And get around him. Now Trevor Bayne, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, all those guys. We're racing to get around. Every point matters, and especially when it's against chasers. I think Hamlin's a chaser as well. So we need to get underneath him. We need to get around him as best we can here. So it looks like we're coming to 2 laps to go this time around. It's certainly possible that we're not going to have any kind of yellow flags or anything that's going to affect how this race changes, affect the end of this race. It's Trevor Bayne going very slow here, but obviously we got into the wall. So, you know, if we'd kept the aerodynamics on the car, we would have been in really good shape. We probably could have recovered to have a really, really good finish. But right now it's just looking like it's going to be a really decent recovery drive from us. As we come to the white flag, get around Trevor Bayne, and now hopefully Denny will get hauled up by Greg Biffle here. It looks like there's some cars. It seems like there's cars that stayed out and are going very slowly, which is kind of affecting the way this finish is going to be. But at least there's guys up here who aren't in the chase. We're racing with the chasers. We have a winner. I just heard the cheering. It'll be a 14th place, it looks like, because we're not going to catch Biffle. But again, nice recovery drive after a, you know, a typical NASCAR heat race, to put it lightly. So 14th place, as you guys did see. Looks like a lot of chasers had trouble. So, you know, that to have a race where, you know, Danica Patrick finished second, this, you know, at least everybody got screwed equally. So let's see how it all shook out here in terms of the money that we won. And we got 300,000 from the win, or we got most laps led, so that's good. That's some decent dinero there, almost $500,000. But again, you know, it could have been much better. Let's take a look at the points standings after one race, and we're up to 29. So yeah, 5th in the chase standings, not terrible. Only Busch, Johnson, Hamlin, and Kenseth. And to be honest with you, we could have been around 3 of those guys if not for a mistake. So really, you know, if we have a mistake-free next couple of races, I think we'll be in good shape. Kansas will be interesting. Talladega, it's going to take a, you know, a fuel mileage win there, and just, you know, driving patiently, especially with the way they've done the pack racing now, that it's actually a little bit more like a pack race. So let's head back to the race shop, take a look at and see if there's anything else to really take a hard look at, and we'll move on to the next race. So Charlotte was very hard on chasers. Will Kenseth Kansas be more of the same? Well, find out in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching this. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we will see you at the round of 12, race 2, Kansas.